Hey everybody, thanks for joining SpringPath, the podcast. We have a great show lined up, lots to talk about, so let's get after it. Hey, and thanks for joining this episode of SpringPath, the podcast, where we're going to be talking and learning a little bit more about Gordan College. And we have our two special guests, Deborah and Sara, coming from Gordan College. How's it going?
Good, we're doing good.
I'm so excited to have you on the show. This is great. I know we've talked multiple times, and now we get to kind of record this and share real life experiences about the school, but also about you because you have some great background stories. So let's start there. Why don't we start with Sara? How did you get into this role and with Gordan College?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Sara Peck. I serve as Associate Director of Recruitment at Gordan. I toured Gordan as a high school student. I ended up getting an opportunity to go to a school in Kentucky. So I grew up in Massachusetts. I ended up going to Kentucky for school, and then I worked there for 4 years. I am a first generation college student. And after graduating, I basically applied to one job at my alma mater and ended up working there for 3 years. Really just drawn to higher education because of what I saw and what I've seen it can do and what doors it opened up for me in my life being a first generation college student. So I was just super drawn to higher education. I worked at my alma mater for 3 years. I worked at a community college to get a different experience in higher ed. And then I took a year off. I was desperate to come back to New England.
Well, this is the part we want to hear about. Yeah.
Desperate to be close to family. And I nannied and I did some artwork and I spent a whole year in prayer. Gordan's a Christian college, and I had really pulled away from God during my time in college. And so I spent a season in prayer.
I mean, Kentucky can do that to you.
I didn't say.
So you spent some time in kind of rural Kentucky, then you came home, you were doing some artwork, just kind of finding yourself, and then
taking a breather. And I was ready for full-time work again. And when I was ready for full-time work, I wasn't planning necessarily to come back to higher education, although I love higher ed. But God very clearly called me to Gordan. And so I started, it'll be almost 2 years in August at Gordan, and I have loved every minute of it. It's my first experience in Christian higher education, and the impacts and the value that I see in Christian higher ed specifically now is just beautiful. So I've loved it.
Yeah, and you and I have met, a few times in, the college fairs and stuff, and you have a passion for this. It really shines through. So I think Gordan's lucky to have you, and I'm happy that you're sharing your story with everybody today. So this is good.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Mike.
And now we shift gears to Deborah. So,
yeah.
I already know your story, but I'm going to let you tell it. So go ahead.
Oh my gosh. So I graduated from Gordan. And when I was younger, I was really inspired by the Gordan students that I met at a camp that I went to with my youth group. They were, the students that were, praying with me, that were asking me about my life. And also were really fun. And I was like, I want to be like them. And I'm like, where do you go to college? What do you do? And they're like, oh, we go to Gordan. And I was like, what? So I live in the area. So I knew of Gordan, but had never really visited. So I went onto campus and I really felt, whoa, this is a place where I could see myself. And I really felt that deep conviction to have Gordan be a part of my story. And but before I went to Gordan, so I graduated high school at age 17, worked 3 jobs and did community college before going to Gordan. But I wanted Gordan to be my end goal. So, figuring things out during that time. But it's difficult sometimes when you don't exactly know what the future is going to be like, and if the decision that you're making is wise. So I sat down with a family friend of mine for breakfast during that year of my life where I was hustling, like you said. And I asked her, hey, if I know where I'm supposed to be, but I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do there, should I go? And she said yes. So I took that advice and I ran with it. Showed up on campus, with no plan, but with absolutely a sense of purpose being on campus. And I actually ended up doing this honors program at Gordan that allows you to create your own major. So I did that. And actually, you have to pitch it, right? You can't just like create your own major and then graduate with no one supervising you. So I pitched the idea to Gordan, and they approved it for me, but they also liked it so much that they turned it into a minor. So you can actually find it on the Gordan website.
And that's what I love about your story, which I wanted everyone to kind of hear, is that, you know, you were a hustler working 3 jobs, community school. You showed up on campus and just said, hey, I'm going to create my own major. I mean, I like what you have here, but I'm going to do my own thing.
I love it.
And Gordan was your kind of your canvas for you to create your masterpiece. Good for you.
Thanks.
And I love it. And you won't be surprised, the major that she created was called social impact. So it's very appropriate. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh my God.
Well, maybe in another episode we'll highlight what you created, because I'm
Ooh,
sure people will like to hear.
let me know. I'll
right.
come back. Round 2.
Perfect. All right. So let's shift gears for a second, and let's start talking a little bit about the campus itself, because you're in a unique setting. And Sara, I'll let you kind of field this one, but tell us, you know, because you've spent time at other campuses, then it was like coming home for you. You really love the kind of New England-esque campus, but hit some of the highlights for us. Just kind of give us a picture.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I love this campus. I love New England. I love this campus specifically. So we are settled on 485 acres of wooded lands. So Gordan is settled on the North Shore of Boston. And so we are not only settled on 485 acres of wooded lands, but we have hiking trails, biking trails in the woods. The local community will bring their mountain bikes in. You'll see like little kids, and it's just so fun. And then there's 4 ponds on campus. 1 is a swimming ond. And so we're kind of set back, but we're also 3 miles from the closest ocean, which you can get to through the woods, the Gordan Woods, which is awesome.
Walking.
You just keep walking. And then we are really, really close to the city as well. So we are 35-minute train ride or 40-minute drive into Boston. One of our admission counselors here, he loves to say that we're a 4 seasons campus, which I just think is so appropriate. It's we have our summertime, which you can go to the beach, you can hang out in the pond, you can go kayaking and go fishing, and then fall hits and we're an hour and a half from the White Mountains. I mean, we're so close, but we also have beautiful, beautiful foliage and really that autumn experience right here on campus. Then winter comes and you can go ice skating on Frog Pond in Boston, or, you know, do some trail walks even locally. And then spring comes and our students are cramming for finals, but the flowers start blooming and, you know, and the sun is shining. And so it's really lovely. There were even some students who were building like literal igloos on our quad on campus. So like winter is not a boring time here. People aren't holed away in their residence halls, but if the water freezes just so on our quad, people will ice skate. I mean, it's really such a blast. We love our location.
That's great. So it's year round. You have something to do, and it sounds like you have this picturesque setting where you have these people should take a tour. I'm assuming that would be the best way to experience this. But you know, swimming, fishing, kayaking, and then also you're not far from the city at all. It's a half-hour ride, and you're right there, and you have the, you know, the hustle and bustle of the city, but the nightlife, the food, everything is there to experience.
Oh yeah.
So I know we offline we talked a little bit about this, but Deborah, you had another interesting fact about the campus itself. There was it a castle that's on the campus? Some history?
So as admission staff, we actually work in the castle on campus, and it's not just called a castle, it's actually a castle. So back in 1889, this building was created and modeled after an Irish castle. So if you were to ever come to campus, you don't know where admissions is, just ask whoever's at the desk, where is the castle? That's where it needs to be. There are a bunch of secret passageways in this castle. There's beautiful architecture, the windows. Everything is just so fun and has such a rich history. And then the quad that Sara mentioned that people ice skate on, is also where Teddy Roosevelt played polo. So that's a fun fact for you.
So on the campus tour, I'll be sure to ask, did anyone play polo here? That's
Yeah.
all right. All right, so that's great. So actually, I didn't realize that you're at a castle with secret passages. That's kind of cool. I would like to come check it out.
Oh yeah, you should. You should. It makes you feel like
It works. That's exciting. So it sounds like the campus is amazing. Anyone should take a tour and check it out. And then let's kind of shift gears a little bit into, all right, I take a look at the campus. It really feels like the vibe for me. This is where I should be. A little bit about orientation. I'm a first-year student. What can I expect summer leading into, joining the school and being a part of this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Deborah, so I'll ask you.
Yeah, for sure. So we have this program called the Levita program, and it is an outdoor education experience that we have for students coming in to Gordan. So first year transfer students coming into Gordan. And it really sets a foundation of community and also is a great transition for transitions. Like you're coming out of high school or you're coming out of, working if you're a transfer student, and you have to take time to reflect and reframe as you go into this next phase of life. So the details of Levita. So basically students will go up to the Adirondack Mountains of New York and do a backpacking, hiking, camping trip with other first-year students, with a smaller group of them for about 12 days. So it's really this unique opportunity for people to engage with one another in a way that maybe they never thought they could, or engage with themselves in a way that they never thought they could, that really lays that groundwork before they come into a new space.
Sure, and I'm sure that sounds amazing in the fact that it probably takes some of the edge off, or the nerves, the butterflies, because now you're spending some time with your future classmates, but also, we kind of talked about this offline, but now you have a unique experience that you have all experienced together. So when you end up on campus, you're like, hey, remember canoeing in the Adirondacks? So it's like an icebreaker. It helps people like really connect and start building out their network before they hit campus. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. And I will say, for the people who aren't like super outdoorsy and don't want to do the 12 days, there is still an outdoor education requirement at Gordan, but there's an option to do it on campus. So still same principles of connection, of community building, of relationship building, but it's called Discovery. Deborah was actually a teacher for the Discovery course through Levita. And it actually happens in our Gordan woods. There's a high ropes and a low ropes course, and there's a short weekend trip. So we don't want to deter anyone who's like, I don't want to go to Gordan because I don't want to be in the woods for
12 days.
We have other options.
Yeah.
We have other options here. Yeah.
It's such a watered down version. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. I can completely. So for someone who thinks camping is a day at the Holiday Inn, this is more for them, right? All right. That makes sense. All right. So students come in, over the summer. We're going to do a 12-day backpack trip, get to know my classmates. I can do kind of a smaller version, a weekend version, but still I'm getting acclimated. I'm meeting people. I'm starting to build my network. What can students expect? Let's say, okay, now we're past this kind of orientation phase in the summer. I'm going to hit the campus. What does the campus offer for clubs, sports, recreation? Kind of hit those highlights for us.
Great.
Whoever wants to take that.
Yeah. So we have about 110 student-led clubs on campus, because our students are innovative and they're creative and they want to do all these big things, and they find people that have the same interests and passions, and then they create a club, and it's just amazing. So when students come onto campus for their orientation and everything, we have a club fair, so they get to see firsthand, okay, maybe this is something I'm interested in. Maybe this is a group that I want to be a part of. And it's another opportunity for them to meet students that, may become their lifelong friends, or just the way that they interact with their academics and the way that they see the world. Just building that connection happens the second they step foot on campus. And I'm trying to think So we have the club fair. We have
We also have
What do you have for?
Yeah, we're Division III NCAA. We have 21 varsity sports teams, and there's a lot of go-getters here at Gordan. One of our person who actually created the rowing team was a Gordan alum, had this vision for what NCAA Division III like rowing could look like at a Christian college, which there are not many in the country. And so they're like cruising on. That's just one example of how one of our athletics teams got started here. It's just incredible. So we have that. We have Rec IM as well.
Yeah, our recreational sports. So that's really fun because students really get into it, especially flag football.
I heard it's pretty intense. Yeah.
Like say the different residence halls they create a team and then they do the final match at homecoming and everything like that. So it's really fun and people get behind it. And again, just reinforcing okay, how do I see myself working on a team? How do I see myself interacting with the people around me, using my strengths, figuring out what my weaknesses are, how to grow and also be known by the people I'm doing this with. So it's just another unique way for students to learn about how they can contribute.
No, exactly. And I think the key or the kind of the underlying denominator is, and I've said this on previous episodes, but for students listening, you have to get out of your dorm.
Yeah.
So leave your dorm, go down, sign up for clubs because those are other like-minded individuals. Because if you like doing something and then you meet a group of people who like it, now they become your friends. And that's how you expand your network and kind of make your bubble bigger, which ultimately, equates to your success on campus and then graduating. So sounds like you have a great kind of breadth in offering for Division III sports. You have over 100 clubs to choose from, and people are creating new ones all the time. Yeah. And then, all right, so there's opportunity. I land as a first-year student, first few weeks on campus. I'm checking out clubs. I'm getting to meet people. Now talk to me. Let's shift gears a little bit about academics. So when do I start having to figure out what I want to do for a major? When does that kind of kick in? Is there a transition period? So when does that start? I don't know if, Sara, if you want to take that one.
Of course. Yeah. So actually, as part of our pre-orientation checklist, we have a form that says declare your first major, because we know that sometimes students will change their minds, and some students know, which is wonderful, but sometimes they change their minds, which is okay too. And so we have a team of summer advisors that actually meet with students to build their schedule for the fall, the summer before they get here. And so typically they meet at least once, typically twice, with those students to really help coach them in the academics and get them prepared for what classes they might be taking in the fall. Then once a student gets onto campus, they'll officially declare their first major, and they'll get an advisor who is within that department. And that advisor will really help coach them through the next 4 years of their time here at Gordan. And those advisors are incredible resources. Like you were saying, like you gotta put yourself out there as a student. One of my mentors used to say, "Yoga whippy, you get out what you put in." And so if you're seeking out opportunities, you're gonna get opportunities. You're gonna find them. And so advisors are great resources when we start talking about job placement, which we may get to in a few minutes. But and even when it comes to internship opportunities, so they're a wonderful resource for students.
Okay. Yeah. So it kind of sounds like that's where it starts. You're going to have a summer advisor to help get you going before you hit the campus. And then once you declare a major, which may change, obviously, but then you get assigned an advisor in that particular, I don't know what you call it, program or discipline area for your major. So let's talk a little bit about that first year. Because really what we're going to start to do is transition now. I'm decided to go here. I'm on campus. I declared my major. Is it just academics, or when can I start with internships, or how does that start to unfold over the next 2 to 3 years?
Right. Yeah. So internships and, projects and assignments, the professors really have the student in mind when they are teaching content, when they are having their office hours. There's really that that close relationship that they have with students. Like you are actually known by your professor. When I was a student, one of the big reasons I got the internships that I did was because my advisor and my professors knew what I was passionate about and knew the work that I wanted to do.
You created your own major, so I assume.
She'll do it.
I'm pretty sure they saw the passion in your eyes. Like, that major looks good, but it would be better if it was.
It would be better here, but yeah. So there really is such a care for students that happens on campus early on. So I know a student who did research with a professor over the summer after her freshman year. So like she was able to do that and pursue that and see what that's like early on instead of having to wait to be an upperclassman. So when professors see potential in students, they see that they put in the hard work, that they're serious about what they're pursuing, opportunities will open up because that's what they're there for. It's career and it's also calling, you know what I mean? And professors really do pay attention to that. But more specifically, as you're going out throughout your college time, you have your time as an underclassman, you have your time as an upperclassman, and upperclassmen, especially juniors and seniors, their majors have required internships and required practicums. So then it puts that practice for the student to be like, okay, this is how you engage in the real world with what you've been learning. And it allows them to practice that before they leave the space where they can ask questions, and do all that. So.
Sure. So if I'm hearing you correctly, it kind of sounds like this. It sounds like you said a few things. One is individual. So it really does sound like you're not just a number at Gordan. You actually, the professors, the faculty, everyone knows who you are, and you can kind of create this individual experience as far as internships and career placement. But the other two things I heard you say was it can start as early as your freshman year. You can actually find a research program or an internship right out of the gate. So, be eager. If you're eager and you're, like if you're working 3 jobs and, going to community college and then you create your own major when you step on campus, this is perfect for you because you can get an internship in the first year. But then more importantly, all joking aside, is it sounds like when they start to mature into that junior, senior year, you are creating these mandatory curriculums in and around internships because it's time. You have to start getting real life experience and getting out there. So if I'm hearing that correctly, that sounds amazing. It sounds like you're really setting students up for success.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And one of the things I'll mention too is we have an incredible Career and Connections Institute, and those staff members are in the classroom on a weekly basis, all the way from first year classrooms to senior classrooms, really helping prepare students at a range of different stages. And so students can seek them out, but they're also going to the students to help build those resumes, to help do mock interviews, to help them, in addition to the advisors and department chairs, helping them find internship placements. So that's an incredible resource that we have as well on campus.
So with all of these things in place for the kind of creating the success track for every student that comes through, what is your kind of your job placement or continuing ed stat? Like, what's your percentage there?
Of course. Yeah, we have a 93% job placement or grad placement rate 1 year post grad.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So that's something to be proud of. Yeah. So that's way above industry average and with job placement and continuing ed. All right. So we covered kind of the students' progression through college and then getting into job placement and how you help with the success. And you have a 93% job placement or continuing education statistic, which is really high. That's amazing. So I think that covers a lot of what we were looking to get in this first episode, but I'll open it up to anything else you'd like to share to a student and or a family member kind of listening to this podcast about Gordan.
Yeah, absolutely. We work with a lot of families. We know that the college decision is a family decision. And so we're talking with a lot of parents who are really want to know, what is the safety ratings? How safe is your campus? And so I just want to touch on that a little bit. So Gordan has been consistently ranked one of the safest colleges in the nation, at least top 5, top 10 consistently year after year. And so we have a full-fledged and fully trained police force that's actually on campus. And they're also trained first responders. So if there's ever a mental health crisis or anything like that, they're all trained. Now we call them GoPo, so Gordan Police. We fondly call them GoPo. They're an incredibly prayerful team. They're praying with each call, responding to each call. Oftentimes they're like teaching students to change their flat tires or unlocking residence halls. But they're here because we care about the safety of the students. And so that's one thing I want to mention. But I also just wanted to touch on counseling services that we have here on campus. So we know the need for mental health support is at an all-time high. And so we have a trained counseling staff. Students will typically pay about $90 a semester, so about $10 an appointment if they go weekly throughout the semester. And students, they can go for a range of different needs there. They're instituting some group counseling as well this upcoming semester, so they're doing one-on-one counseling, but also helping again to build that community here at Gordan. I will say too, we had some consultants on campus, and I know a lot of colleges say, community is what sets us apart. These consultants had been to 300 plus different campuses and said, community is your superpower. And that has been such a huge encouragement, because we see it, here at Gordan. But we've talked about so much this La Vida, this the academic support, the counseling support, the Gordan Police Department, and all of it serves the students, and all of it bolsters the community here. And so those are just some closing thoughts that I had that I wanted to make sure that we shared on.
No, I listen, it's spot on, because we do get questions from parents from our surveys and what we do to help our students try to select a school. And one of the top questions is, I'm sending my little baby, who's all grown up now, off to a campus to live on their own. Are they going to be safe? Are they going to be successful? Do they have the support in place for them to find success? And I think being ranked in the top 5 or top 10 safest schools in the country is pretty amazing, number one. And then number two, the fact that you're acknowledging the transition and the challenges. There's stress and there are triggers, and having that counseling readily available for students is a huge factor. And I'm sure that'll help a lot of people. So thank you. That's great.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, all right. So this has been awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for being on the show. And to kind of wrap things up, let's just say, okay, I am interested. I just listened to this. How do I get a hold of you for more information? And we'll drop this in the description below, but why don't you give the web address and any contact email that they can reach you?
Yeah. So gordan.edu is our website, and we just updated it so you can see all the new changes. Very exciting. And then our email address is admissions@gordan.edu. So admissions with an S at gordan.edu. And you can also follow us on Instagram if you want.
Awesome. We'll put all that in the description as well. And then I'm assuming it's a general admissions box, but it'll get routed to the right person based on geography or wherever they're from. Awesome. All right, good. Hey, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for all the information. We appreciate it. And I'll just wrap it up by saying, for anyone watching or listening, you can also visit springpath.net to see if Gordan is a match for you. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.